Hello again, guys. Welcome back to another Big Owl's Haunted video. Today I've got a few things to share with you. Essentially the first 2 nights worth of footage that we've taken. There's not a huge amount of footage, but there's a few things to talk about nonetheless. A few things on camera and a few things to tell you about. Now what you're about to see is the very first part of the first night, okay, and we'd already had experience during the day of weird things going on, hence why we set up the camera, because we you can generally predict if it's busy during the day, it's going to be a pretty weird night. Most likely you'll be more likely to pick up things. Now with that in mind, basically what we experienced during the day was, whilst my sister was over, I was sitting in the lounge on the armchair, where I had partial view of the front door. If I turned to my right, I couldn't see it without looking, obviously, but we were watching telly, and as we were watching telly, we all hear this noise of what's first. It sounded. I was trying to pinpoint what the sound was. It sounded like my dog was biting on a plastic bottle, and then I realised, oh, hang on a minute, he's in this room. Can't be that. And as I turned round, as you're trying to look towards the sound that you're hearing, it was coming from my right-hand side, which was towards the hallway and the front door of the house. As I turned my head to kind of pinpoint where the sound was coming from, it became clearer what it was. It was the sound of the door being shook and the door handle kind of being turned a little bit. Not a lot, but enough. Now, we heard this sound quite clearly, and as I turned, the sound became obviously apparent to what it was, especially when I could see the front door shaking. Now, at the time, you don't think it's a paranormal event. You think it's someone trying to get in your house, right? So at this point in time, I didn't think, oh, wow, look at that, the ghost or whatever. And it only happened for a few seconds, because as soon as I got up and started, going towards the door as quick as I could, because I thought there's a burglar trying to get in the house or whatever, the sound stopped by the time I sort of stood up. And by the time I got to the door, obviously that was the first place I checked. I opened it, made sure there was no one on the driveway. I was expecting to see someone running away or on the roadway next to us, which there's a clear view, by the way. Unless they'd have to run 3 times faster than the same bolt to get out of line of sight from the time when the sound of the door shaking stopped. And by the time I got to the door, it's not that far a trip for me to make. But there was no one there. And so my next assumption was, okay, someone's got into the house, and what I heard was the door being closed. The vibrations of it being closed. And so I went around the house, very seriously, thinking that obviously a burglar or home invader of some kind got into the home. Checked every room, turned every light on, checked every crevice, nothing. And it then became obvious to me, hang on a minute. I know what I saw, I know what I heard, and it was obviously something weird. We've had problems with the front door before with these kind of noises. It's not an issue with the door or anything, it's a solid door. We've had problems with doors in the house opening, door handles turning. We have had it. We've captured a little bit of footage of the door in my my filming room opening just by pure chance as I'm filming, right? So we've got plenty of experience of this happening, and so it became apparent, obviously, that weird things were going on. Now, this was also sort of corroborated with the fact that my sister, when she came, she actually said she could feel like a negative presence again in the house, like she used to feel a year ago when we started to have these activities before they went quiet again. And so, alongside the fact that the frequency of these kind of things and the intensity was starting to increase, it was made apparent to me that something needed to be filmed, that the cameras needed to come back out again, and we needed to do active searches of the property and filming of the property to try to discover or at least see what's going on. Now, this first bit of footage I'm about to show you is a very similar experience to what we had during the day, but it is the night of that same day. We've just gone to bed, been in bed for about 40 minutes watching telly. At this moment, the telly is on, and it's on full volume, so it's very loud. My girlfriend is deaf in one ear, so as a result, we tend to have it on loud. And also, as well as this, because I like to try and get a full night's sleep without being disturbed, I wear earplugs anyway when I go to bed, so I have to have it on a little bit louder to hear for myself also. Now, despite the fact that my girlfriend's deaf, half deaf, and I had earplugs on, and the telly was on loud, 100% of the volume, we could, although it was quiet at the point when the noise occurred, we suddenly heard this big sound of what was undisputedly to us at that point in time the sound of the conservatory doors in the back of the house where the camera, near where the camera was set up that night. We put it in the guest room, which links into the conservatory. It sounded like them were being shaken because they're a little bit more unstable than the front doors. They're kind of wood instead of like, well, they're both wood, but they're smaller doors, okay? And so they're a little bit more prone to, if you're shaking them, to making a more rattling sound. And it sounded to us that a strong man was trying to literally break his way through the locks. It was like shaking the door for a couple of seconds, roughly. Now, this is what we thought was going on. Okay, and you'll see my reaction. I'll come out with my walking stick, obviously for self-defense purposes, to secure the property again. But then when I look back at the footage, it's amazing how different the sound sounds like on camera than it did to us. It sounds very different. Okay, it sounds more eerie, more creepy. It's a little harder to hear, so get your headphones on, guys. But I'm going to show it to you guys. I'm then going to, repeat it a couple of times, and we'll come back and we'll talk about what we heard. Okay.
I may have looked in, but I heard a massive noise.
Did you hear it as well?
A massive noise.
Yeah, same.
There's something going on, I'm telling you.
Also, it always sounds like someone opened the door.
It was the front door again?
I don't know if it was the front door, but it just sounded like a door.
Alright. I've got the camera on anyway, so hopefully it picked up on it. That's spooky as fuck.
That was loud.
That was like fucking something being shaken off its hinges.
Now let's repeat that sound that we heard a few times, just to be clear on what we heard. Alright guys, so you can definitely hear a sound there for sure. In fact, you can actually hear what we experienced at the time, which was a kind of banging towards the end of the noise of what sounds like a door being shook. Now to us at the time, it was, well, to myself at least, I was convinced it was coming from the conservatory, hence why I went and checked the conservatory, and then later on off camera, well, I just edited it out, I went and checked obviously the front door and there. Now there was no sign of anything physically being moved or damaged or anything along those lines. The doors were locked and everything like this, but the point I'm making is you can definitely hear the banging that we heard, but there's an additional sound that we didn't hear, which is a screech at the beginning of the banging. Ghostly screech, if you wish. And I actually believe that we didn't hear this because it wasn't there for us to hear. It's actually an EVP. We've had this before. We've had cupboards opening and closing and other, like tins dropping and things falling off worktops and stuff. When it's being filmed, there's been additional noises that you can't hear when you're there. Normally the sound of like very low chanting or a girl's voice often, and we've had screeching before, a lot of screeching like that before, but we've never ever heard it. We've only picked it up on camera. consequently, as a result of this, guys, what I have purchased, it's on order, so hopefully it'll be here within a week. I have purchased an EVP machine, so we can do EVP sessions. This is the main bit that happened in days 1 and 2. Now there may be additional footage. This is all that I'm aware of, because what you know we actually heard it at the time. I'm going through the rest of the footage as we speak. There's a reasonable amount of footage, about 8 hours of footage, but believe it or not, there should be about 16, right? 2 nights, roughly 16 hours. But the reason is the second night we basically got nothing, because we've had this again before last year, where the camera fails. The camera just fails for some inexplicable reason. I go there in the morning, I go to stop it recording, and it's flashing the dead battery sign, even though it's being plugged into the mains all night. There's no reason why it should be running out of battery and shouldn't work. And when I just flip the switch or whatever, it powers, it starts to get charged again, and after a while obviously we can turn it back on, but there's still a delay even when it comes to that. Now we've done this with different cameras, we've done this in different plugs, different rooms, and we've had this occurrence many times. It's not like a dodgy plug or anything like this, right? Or a dodgy camera. It's just something that seems to happen from time to time where the camera gets drained. So that we don't have as much footage to go over as I would like, but I will go through it, and I don't expect to find anything, to be honest, but if we do, I'll share it. But day 3, which was last night, we do have something. We have mobile phone coverage, and we have camera footage, as well as just little sort of stories to tell you about what's been happening. So yeah, it's been an unusual time, and save boring you with additional sort of footage and stories of what's been happening, I will leave it there, guys. This video's turning quite a long one, and I'll try and split it up into shorter videos. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you soon. Will be more footage very, very soon, as soon as I get it edited. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.